Welcome to the presentation from Focus Features. Exciting one here, too, because they have gathered a who's who of directing from all aspects of directing. We have all the directors of 3 of their major awards contending movies this year. First of all, from ParaNorman, which was released in August, the animated, it's really a charming, funny movie. We have the 2 directors of ParaNorman. Sam Fell directed Flushed Away and won BAFTA and Annie nominations for that. He won an Annie nomination for The Tale of Despereaux, and worked for many years with Aardman, one of the great animation companies. Please welcome Sam Fell. Hey, Sam. Yeah, right down there. And his co-director and the writer of the film is making his feature directing debut here. He's worked for Leica, which did Coraline. And won an Academy Award nomination as an animated feature. He was the head of story and character designer on that and won an Annie nomination for it. He is one of Variety's top animation talents. That's a nice designation. And he's worked on Tale of Despereaux, Corpse Bride, and many others. Please welcome Chris Butler. Hey. Joe Wright he is an amazing director. All of his films are unique, different. Hannah, The Soloist, Atonement, for which he was nominated for the BAFTA and the Golden Globe, and played the Venice Film Festival, won an award there. Pride and Prejudice, he won 2 BAFTA nominations and won the Carl Foreman Award. As a new director. He's worked on many television series, and now he has directed an amazing, beautiful version of Anna Karenina. Please welcome Joe Wright. Everybody has their favorite Gus Van Sant movie, but let me just name a few of them. Drugstore Cowboy, for which he the Indie Spirit Award, the Los Angeles Film Critics Award, the National Society of Film Critics Award, and the New York Film Critics Awards that he won. My Own Private Idaho, Indie Spirit Award. To Die For, Nicole Kidman, amazing movie. Good Will Hunting, for which he won an Oscar nomination for Best Director and the DGA nomination. Milk, for which he won an Oscar nomination for Best Director and a DGA nomination. Elephant, for which he won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. So many other films. His newest film opens December 28th, stars Matt Damon, and it is called Promised Land. We're going to talk about that and see a little bit of it. Extraordinary new film. Please welcome Gus Van Sant. This movie's so unique in a lot of ways. There are all of a sudden a whole spate of horror-themed, I don't know if it's just you guys talk to each other in the back room and decide that we're going to have a few movies that have horror themes to them. But this one was very unique and came out of your love of the genre, right? And,
yeah, for sure.
And I think that makes it really special. So can you talk a little bit about the genesis of the movie?
Yeah, a very long time ago, I had the seed of an idea which I thought would make a cool stop-motion movie, and that was a zombie movie for kids. And that was just it, really.
Now, how did you team up to be co-directors? You've obviously directed before, Sam, but you have not. You wrote it, though. Yeah. So how does that work as a partnership on it?
Well, I came like later, you know, like Chris had been, you know, beavering away on it for years and years, so it was well honed, you know, he'd gone up all the blind alleys and everything, so I came along in about 2009, and I was just invited to the studio to look at all the stuff they had in development and cast an eye and kind of advise a little bit. And this project really caught my eye, and all of the stuff he was talking about were all things that I was a real fan of. So we just kind of became friends, really, you know, just like comparing stuff that we loved. And I was kind of involved in, you know, polishing the script a little bit, or, you know, giving him notes, and eventually we realised that we'd make a great team, you know, that we just enjoyed being together. We had similar tastes, and yeah, so I brought a bit of experience to the table as well, you know. So.
What I love about it, too, is it goes against the grain of what most animation these days is doing, which is CGI or that sort of thing. This is stop motion, good old-fashioned stop motion.
It's funny, really, because like it's sort of been forgotten, and now it's back. Everyone's like, "Wow, what is this thing? You know, it looks really good." You know, and you're like, "Well, yeah." And it's like one aspect of it I love is the photography. You know, it's like they're real objects. You know, real handcrafted objects, lit and photographed properly. And, you know, it's sort of been forgotten that. And, you know, in CG, they hire teams of rocket scientists to calculate algorithms that will create light falling on things. You know?
We get it for free.
Yeah.
But how painstaking. I mean, when I see how that's done, I can't imagine going through that process. How long does it take to do one, you know?
Oh, it's awful. It's a horrible process.
We don't actually do it. We just sort of ask other people to do it for us. We're quite lucky.
I think, you know, when we were in the main thrust of production, we were probably producing about a minute a week. And that was good.
This movie does look great in 3D. I mean, you know, of the films I've seen recently, it really does come across. It may have something to do with that stop motion, too. I mean...
Yeah, for sure. And we learned a lot of lessons on Coraline. I think, you know, like Sam said, it was amazing how much the 3D brought to the tactility of the medium. So, and one thing that we did on Coraline that was well received was making it an immersive experience rather than throwing things in your face. We were inviting the audience into the screen, which is what's appealing about this anyway. It's like seeing it's like going back. It's a nostalgic fix. It's like going back to imagining your toys coming to life, and that's happening on the screen. So inviting you into that is pretty magical. So we followed that those same parameters, if you like. I mean, obviously this is a zombie movie pastiche, so we had a few hands doing this into the audience. We would have been remiss if we didn't have a few of those moments. But on the whole, it was about inviting the audience in.
Now, as innovative as Anna Karenina is, and you'll see why, and we'll talk about that, there are no zombies in it. It's not in 3D, but it is a stunning visual. Maybe you were tempted, I don't know. It's a stunning visual treat to see. Joe, you've obviously worked with Keira Knightley before, Pride and Prejudice being one, and Atonement. What was the difference this time, and working with her again in this particular project? I mean, Leo Tolstoy, a whole different kind of thing.
I guess I've had, it's been the great privilege of my career to witness Keira from kind of stunning ingenue to great actress, and I think this film for me is her finest performance. She's a character who is deeply flawed and possibly not the heroine that she'd first imagined. She's almost an anti-heroine, really, and she has a violence in her and a passion in her and a kind of a beauty, you know, a great belief in love and a refusal for hypocrisy, and so she played a very uncompromising Anna, and I think she's very brave in that respect. I think a lot of actors, stars, are often scared of playing highly ambivalent characters for fear of you know, an audience might not like them, but I think that's one of the things that makes her a great actress.
Visually, it's just a stunning movie to look at. The way you pulled that off, which is no easy trick.
Well, I've worked with the same team of Sarah Greenwood, my designer, and Jacqueline Duran, costume designer, and Seamus McGarvey. We've all known each other for sort of 10, 15 years. I work with the same people over and over, and so we kind of we have a very close aesthetic, and they were also liberated. There was this kind of huge excitement about the idea that we could really do anything we wanted.
I was wondering what kind of research you did into this, in tackling this. Exactly what did you do?
Well, we kind of read everything that was available, or almost everything was available, and we spent a lot of time in Russia, looking at the architecture and the social history and the cultural history, and studying Repan and people like that, and so it was really a case of just immersing ourselves as much as possible. We have this kind of myth that Anna Karenina is this kind of heroine martyred by a patriarchal society, which is interesting and has served its purpose. And I'm not saying that she isn't by any means worthy of our love. I love Anna, but she is self-will run riot. You know, she makes some very bad choices.
Here is Promised Land. Matt Damon, terrific in this film. Obviously, this is a reunion of sorts for you because you directed him to a Best Actor nomination in Good Will Hunting, which he won an Oscar for original screenplay with Ben Affleck, and now you're working together again, and he's written this screenplay with another actor, John Krasinski, from The Office and a lot of stuff. So tell us, first of all, a little bit about Promised Land and what it's about. We saw this confrontation here in the bar, but explain it a little bit.
Yeah, Matt's character works for an oil company, and they're drilling for natural gas in the Northeast, and he's leasing land from locals in the area that he's been sent to. And John Krasinski plays an environmentalist who sort of helps combat Matt's character's intentions. And so this scene was sort of one of the scenes that kind of shows him arguing with some of the local guys.
They wrote this script. At what point did you get involved with it? Was the script completely written when they came to you, or?
Yeah, John Krasinski had developed it at first with Dave Eggers. They wrote a piece, and they continued working on it. And eventually, I think, as they were working on it, John ran into Matt Damon. And then the two of them started working on it. Dave was no longer able to continue. So Krasinski and Matt Damon worked together on it. And when I saw it, it was not even a year ago. It was December of last year. And Matt was intending to direct it on his own, but then I guess his time frame wasn't allowing him to get it out in the way that they wanted to, timing-wise, get it out into the world. So they called me and asked me if I would do it. But yeah, so it was a long road, I think, that the script had been traveling.
What's it like when you're directing? This is the second time you've worked with Matt where he's written a script. What's that like? Do they are they very protective of it, or are you able to go back and forth? I'm just curious when you have actors who've written.
For Matt's side, he's on Good Will Hunting. I didn't really know until we started working, but it was clear that they had kind of wanted to, as actors, divorce themselves from the writing part and just kind of allow me to direct them as if they had been cast in their own movie. On John's side, I think he was he was continuing to write, so he was always like working on the set with changing stuff and or like switching it around. Whether he was playing his part on a given day, he was still on the set and still working. And we were actually writing it as we were shooting it, parts of it, like kind of bolstering different things in it. So that was different than say when we shot Good Will Hunting together. But on Matt's side, he just is very pliable and like not kind of attached to the material.
And the relationships on many levels. This movie, in many ways, reminds... there was a great movie called Local Hero that Burt Lancaster did that it reminded me of. It reminded me a little bit of Frank Capra. It's got that kind of idealism in there, coming into a small town. It's also a very edgy movie. You've got a lot of things going. I think you're the perfect director for this. I could see somebody else coming in and sentimentalizing it or doing something wrong, because it's tricky material to get just the tone you want, right?
Yeah, I think the Capra aspect was very strong, and I think Capra himself had always walked a fine line as well, but did it well. So he was a little bit of a guide, I think, as far as the story and the sentimentality in it.
Yeah, and it, I don't want to give it away because this is a movie coming out, so I'm not going to say anything, and I hope we don't say anything more about the story, but man, you got to see this to see where it goes. It's really a really intriguing film, and one I think people are going to be talking about.